Welcome to the News Hour. In a surprise move, Saudi Arabia and Iran have announced that they're resuming diplomatic ties. In a coup for China, the deal was struck in Beijing after 4 days of secret talks. It follows 7 years of hostility between the Saudi Arabian kingdom as it broke off official relations with Tehran. Both countries have pledged to reopen their embassies within the next 2 months. Iran's top security official said the deal aims to consolidate Tehran's ties with nations across the Islamic world. Well, joining me now here in the studio is Abdulaziz Sager. He's the chairman of the Gulf Research Centre. Welcome to Al-Jazeera. Nice to have you here, sir. Can I just begin with asking you, could you, from your knowledge and your contacts within the Saudi government, explain practically how this agreement is going to work? And does this mean that hostilities between the two countries are now over?
Well, let's hope that it will be over, because the agreement basically focuses on respecting the international law. The agreement also talks about the Vienna Treaty with regard to the diplomat and political and diplomatic facilities. So that is also important. It talks about respect of the sovereignty of the state, which is very important. If we take all of this in account, and it says it's a new page, so basically what we are saying, we are trying to stop all the escalation, go to de-escalation now, focus on the unilateral relation that bring peace and security to the region here, and that means no intervention on the domestic affairs issues from Iran into Saudi Arabia, which is very important. That it has been, and your report did talk about the various issues that has been between Saudi Arabia and Iran in the past. And I think that's a positive step. It can look. Of course, there are lots of details in the future that need to be looked out. In other words, how is the implementation? Saudi Arabia always concerned about the interventionist policy, the expansionist policy of Iran, the support of the militia group, the energy security, the maritime security. So there are key issues, and also including the escalation in countries like Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, many of the issues.
And we'll get into that in a moment as well. I mean, how delicate, in your opinion and in your knowledge, were these negotiations? They were held quite secretly. There were negotiations happening that people knew about, as we've heard from various contributors and various correspondents. But the minute detail of a potential rapprochement between Tehran and Riyadh has come as quite a surprise, especially with China involved.
No, I think the Chinese president, when he visits Saudi Arabia on the summit of the Arab Gulf and Saudi-Chinese summit, I think it was clear when he stated that he wanted to see peace and stability and security in the region, and he wanted to see more constructive role from Iran. Although Iran at that time did not like it, and they called the Chinese ambassador in Tehran, saying that they don't like what they have heard. But as soon as the Iranian president visited Beijing, it was very important that the message was delivered, being the largest partner of both sides. I mean, Saudi and the Gulf, it's almost $130 billion with China, so we're the largest trading partner with China. There is almost 36% of China import of energy comes out of the Gulf countries. But at the same time, Iran is the biggest buyer of the Iranian energy is China. So this is why there is a big and interesting relation both, and this is why China had the leverage on the also absence of Russia being very busy with the Ukrainian crisis. China had the best.
In terms of the diplomacy that's been involved, the questions that are now arising, knowing that China's mediated this agreement between these two countries, is the position of countries like the United States, who've been long-term allies of Saudi Arabia, and whether they are being pushed to one side, replaced, or is it just that Saudi Arabia is looking for other alternatives to find a long-term way of cohabitating with its neighbours, as is Iran?
Well, unfortunately, that the U.S. did send some wrong messaging before to the region here, including reallocation of the forces, reducing their involvement in the region, asking the region to not responding at the time when we wanted to respond. In your report, you talked about Shigeg and Begeg, the oil facility, where we've lost half of our oil production for a month. Yeah, you see there. So all of that have raised the question, is the U.S. still the most reliable partner that we can rely on when it comes to the regional security, or also we need to keep our option open. When President Biden attended the summit in Jeddah, he wanted to see a big condemnation against the Russian, and also reducing the relation with China, but also getting out of the OPEC Plus and increasing oil production. None of these have been implemented, and the region said, well, we're no longer the same old boys that you used to know. I think here there is a sort of an interest that we need to protect both interests. You have your interest as a US, and we have interest as a region here, and we need to evaluate that and deal from that angle instead of just being a listener to what an implementer of your wish list.
It will be interesting to see what does happen in the coming months. For the moment, Abdulaziz Al Sager, thanks so much for joining us here on the set in Doha. Thank you.